Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the new settings layout that Fortnite has added to the game and help you choose which are the best settings to use. When Fortnite changes things, it can be super confusing and sometimes even overwhelming because you're so used to one thing and then they just go ahead and change it. As well as I've been getting a lot of messages of people freaking out that their legacy settings are gone and all this sort of stuff. So I'm here to guide you through these new menus. But if you could just quickly drop a like on the video and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. As well as use code FLEA in the item shop to help support me. And if you guys buy some Star Wars skins with my code, just post it to your Instagram story and I'll repost that to my story as just a little shout out and a way of saying thank you. #ad. Anyway, my name is Flea and let's get right into the video. Alright, and we are currently in Fortnite right now. By the way guys, if you would like to try this map out, the code is up on screen now. I think the map is a bit glitched for console players, but hopefully they fix it soon. Alright, and let's get right into these settings. And as most of you know, I do play on controller. I'm just going to be navigating these menus with a mouse though, just because it's a lot easier. And also console players and other platforms may not have as many settings as me on PC, but I'll be covering mostly settings that are suitable to everyone, as well as the settings you don't have yet may be coming very soon. So starting off with the video settings up here, everything in display is just personal preference, so we're just going to go down here. I just got my brightness on default. The user interface contrast is only the contrast on the user interface. As you can see, the lowest is pretty washed and the highest is really strong, so I just like keep mine about there. You got your colorblind settings and we'll just go down a bit more. And then here we have graphics quality, so hopefully some of these settings will be coming to consoles soon. But basically you just want to have everything on the lowest. The only reason I don't is because I up my settings a little bit when I make my thumbnails. Coming down here to the advanced graphics settings, I got VSync definitely off, motion blur off, show FPS you can have on if you'd like to. Now DirectX version, this is something that's kind of new to PCs. If you click the little arrow here, it will just tell you with a prompt saying you need to restart your game. But in a nutshell, DirectX 12 should just give your PC some better performance. My game felt really weird on DirectX 12, so I just keep mine on DirectX 11. And allow multi-threaded rendering, I just have that on. And clicking the next symbol over is going to bring us to the game settings, and now this is going to apply to almost everyone. And basically all these settings here replace the legacy game settings. So you know in the old menu you used to have your settings, and under that you used to have all these little settings where you could turn on and off. Well, these are all those settings now. And the cool thing about this new ping setting is all you gotta do is hover over it, and on the side here it will tell you the ping for all the servers. So the lowest ping I can get is Oceania, which is at 56 ms unfortunately, but now it's a lot easier to see your ping from every server and I like that. Moving down here to the movement section, toggle sprint, I kind of have that off only because I use sprint by default. If you don't use sprint by default, I literally do not know what you're doing. This is by far one of the best settings in the game. What this means is that you don't have to press down every time you want to sprint, it'll just auto sprint when you push forward. For controller players, this frees up your L3 button, which can be used for a really important button like editing and jumping. So I highly recommend sprint by default on. It will only take you a couple of days to get used to and you'll love it. Sprint cancels reloading, is just personal preference. Now auto open doors, this is something you want off if you play a lot of battle royale, but on if you play a lot of creative. Having this setting off is good because if you're fighting an enemy inside a house, you can kind of use doors as a strategy as well as hide behind them without them auto opening and closing on you. But in creative, definitely have that on as it's really useful. If you fail an edit, it'll still open the door for you. Tap to search is just preference. Now moving down to combat, these first four in combat are just preference, but auto sort consumables to the right, you definitely want to have that on. Just so at the start of the game when you're picking up medkits and bandages, it automatically puts to the end of your inventory so the guns can be first. Now coming down to building, reset building choice, you just want to have that on for consistency. Turbo building definitely on, and confirm edit on release, it's up to you. You either want to be using double binds or confirm edit on release. Coming down to the extra game options, the only one that's semi-important is the turbo delete in creative mode. Just means you can hold down the delete button whenever you're building something and it just deletes faster. And also coming down to record replays. Now if you don't go into replays that often, if ever, I recommend you having this off because I have heard quite frequently that having replays on while you're playing can lower your FPS. So if you are having FPS issues, especially on console, try turning it off if you don't use it that much. Now clicking on the next tab over, here we have the HUD settings. Now I do recommend keeping every single setting on. The only setting that's new here is this reticle ammo indicator, and that's just a little indicator on the side of your crosshair. It's basically as you shoot, the bullets on the side of your crosshair actually go down. Keep in mind that the bigger your HUD scale, the bigger everything will be, including those bullets on the sides. As you can see, they're really big now, and when you've shot all your bullets, it just gives you a reload time, which is nice as well. Next one over, we now have mouse and keyboard settings. So if you remember, these used to be jumbled up with the legacy settings, but now they're separate. So then we click over to the next one, and here we have the controller settings. Now for people that used to play on legacy, all these settings may seem really overwhelming. But if you do want to use the legacy settings, all you got to do is go down this setting, use legacy look controls. You want to turn it on, and now the legacy settings will be at the bottom of the screen here. So these are the new legacy settings for people who like the old style of Fortnite and the old aim assist. But if I just go ahead and turn legacy controls off real quick, I'm just going to quickly go over these settings right now. So build immediately with Builder Pro, you definitely want that on. Vibration, you definitely want vibration off. I have no idea how people still use vibration. It's so distracting. It's got to be one of the worst settings. These are your build and edit sensitivities. These are your look horizontal and vertical sensitivities. Now I like having my boost off now. I used to play with 50% boost on 90/90, but I've now changed to this. I'm just experimenting with my settings at the moment. Boost ramp time, I like having on 0, and if you have that on 0, this setting doesn't matter. I don't know much about ADS settings because I don't play Battle Royale that much. Coming down to look dampening time, you definitely want to have that off, and I highly recommend playing on linear if you don't already. If you are really looking to get better at the game, linear is definitely the wave. And I just run a 10-5 dead zone. Now foot controller, I don't think it does anything anymore, but I just keep that on for lols. And for audio settings, nothing's really important here. Definitely have your sound quality on high, and you can experiment with 3D headphones. I know that is a new setting. Some people love it, some people hate it. Just try it out for yourself. And yeah guys, that's gonna be about it for this video. It was just a quick one on these new settings. Hopefully this video helped you find the best settings that suits your playstyle. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you guys. Drop a butterfly emoji in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.